Night finally descended. Covered in wounds, the youth slunk back to his burrow like a beaten dog. He didn't feel any hatred or resentment towards the scavengers who had stolen his prey. As a child who had grown up in the scavenger camps, he had long ago grown accustomed to the rules of the wastelands. In the wastelands, there were no such things as principles. The only law was the law of the strong. The strong would have food, slaves, and women. The weak would be enslaved, abused, and robbed. This was how the wastelands were. In this world, in this age, in this place, morality didn't matter. To be weak was a type of sin in and of itself. The light of the moon flowed into his burrow, carrying with it a bone-chilling cold that mere blankets couldn't ward off. He was so cold that he curled up into a ball, but the wounds covering his body made it impossible for him to fall asleep. Instead, Cloudhawk chose to sit up. He picked up a metal box, blew off the layer of dust covering it, then lifted it up and stared at it as though he was staring at the most valuable of treasures. Slowly, gingerly, he withdrew the brightly colored objects from within the box. He stared raptly at these pictures, his gaze distant and dreamy. These were pictures which the old-timer had laboriously collected over the course of many years. They were a testament to the fact that the old times truly had existed, but the passage of countless years had begun to cause the pictures to fade and become unrecognizable. Every time he stared at them, his young heart couldn't help but quicken its beat. Every time he stared at them, the pain, the hunger, and the injuries he had suffered would all recede slightly. Every time he stared at them, no matter how much despair he felt or how dark the world seemed, he would feel as though he could still see a few flickers of light. The ancient, bygone era of the old times. What type of a magical, dreamlike world had it been? Back then, people had been clean and handsome. The cities had been prosperous and flourishing. There was no danger, no terrifying mutabeasts, no brutally savage mutant humans, and no scavengers who struggled to stay alive in the desolate wastelands. Had that era truly come to an end? Did it perhaps still survive and persist in some unknown corner of this world? Cloudhawk's pitch-black eyes were blazing with eagerness. He truly wanted to wander the camps and wander the wastelands. It was as though a metal seal had long ago been fastened deep within his soul. This was a desire that had sprung up long ago, when he was very young. Back then, the old-timer had asked him, why? The camps were dangerous, the ruins were dangerous, and the wastelands were even more dangerous. This path was a path of certain death. It is because I was born into this world. Since this world chose for me to come into it, I have the right to get a good look at it. Sooner or later, I will go out searching. I'll find that utopia, that heaven-like place. If I can so much as catch a glimpse of it, if I can so much as have the chance to press my lips against the ground beneath it, even if I die the very next instant, I will regret nothing. The old-timer had fallen silent. From that day forth, he had kept the child by his side, sharing his food with him and teaching him how to read. The child had spent many years straddling the line between life and death, but not only had that desire not gone away, it had only grown increasingly intense. The old-timer had once said that some people were born to be free, much like the hawks. They might grow up in a chicken coop, but sooner or later they would spread their wings and soar into the skies. Would he truly have that chance? He wasn't even able to escape the ruins, much less wander into the endless, unfathomably more dangerous wastelands. The old-timer had often spoken of destiny. Everyone, he claimed, had their own destiny. No one would be able to escape that destiny, no matter how hard they tried. Is this my destiny? I won't believe it. The youth had eaten his fill of the torments of the wastelands, but he was still filled with an untamed spirit, and his eyes still shone with an indescribable, irrepressible flame. He slowly placed the metal box underneath his head, using it as his pillow. Only then did his exhausted body finally fall into a deep slumber.